Welcome back to Big Impact Louisiana. I'm Shircole, and today we're joined by our leader and also the show's leader overall for ViaLink, who's driving innovation, compassion, and connection across the state. LaVondra Dobbs, our CEO of ViaLink. From mental health and crisis response to housing data and cross-sector collaboration, ViaLink is helping Louisiana residents navigate life's most difficult moments and move forward with support. So we're going to get started. I want to first let LaVondra introduce herself and say hi to everyone and ask her, for those who may not be familiar with ViaLink, can you just give us a little overview of ViaLink and exactly what makes our organization unique?
All right. Well, thanks, Cole. That was a great introduction. I'm impressed by myself from having you explain me. But so I've been with ViaLink about 12 years now, 11, I believe, as CEO. Um, and I actually found out about 211 that ViaLink offers many, many years ago, probably back in 2002 when I was helping a group create St. Tammany Outreach for the Prevention of Suicide, when that parish had a high number of suicides. I mean, we're typically on the higher end, but it was especially high then, typically middle-aged white males.
Mhm.
So the one of the men from the sheriff's department shared with us these 211 cards that the sheriff's department actually handed out and gave. So I thought, wow, what a unique service that you could call. You could just dial 211 anytime, day or night, and find resources, and that there was also some crisis counseling supports offered through that as well. So fast forward 10 years later, I'm looking to make a career change. I had actually decided to step away from work and take a 3-month hiatus. And I go online to look for a job, and then there's one for a 211 program manager with ViaLink. I'm like, I know what 211 is. So I read more about it, applied for the job, and got it. And that's how I got started. And then learned that 912 ViaLink also provides the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is also 988 now, and had the homeless management information systems under their umbrella as well. And that was pretty much it. So, as many nonprofits struggle with funding and sustainability, within a year of starting this role and then becoming CEO, I was pretty much thrust into how are we going to sustain this organization? And one of the first things we did was the Pitch It Challenge. And we won second place for our teen crisis text line. And that is really what launched us um, in diversifying our work, because we were able to leverage that win to get funding. And that teen text line is now statewide and paid for by the Office of Public Health. The numbers on the back of every card, our student ID card, along with the Lifeline 988 number. Um, and we've just kind of grown from there and expanded our services. So we got away from being grant funded totally to moving towards more contract funding as we created more crisis lines, like for universities and health and human service districts, and even the prisons or juvenile detention centers that need crisis lines. We can provide that. And our HMIS work has also expanded in a creative team there and looking at other opportunities with their data work. One of the things that about a ViaLink that really amazed me was all the data we were sitting on, needs data, demographics data about our callers and their location. And we have been able to take that and create dashboards and overlay that with other materials or other sources of data to give deeper dives on certain topics. And that has become a stream of income as well as our resource directory. So I'll end this part by saying, if you ever hear anybody saying, gee, we need a resource directory, you don't need to create it. It already exists. It's at ViaLink, and we're happy to share it.
You kind of led into some of my next question. Just like our teams oversee so many things, ranging from the 211 to the crisis line, youth programming, and statewide data projects. How do you see all the pieces coming together to serve Louisiana in a more holistic type of way?
Well, I think everything that we provide is helping people to help themselves. Where if, giving them a resource, if they're having trouble accessing it, we will help them access it. We will follow up with them. It's really addressing those social determinants of health
Hmm.
that sometimes hold people back from being as healthy as they need to be, um, or can be. And then just the whole gamut of mental health, and providing outlets to not only get help, but stay healthy and help yourself as well.
Hmm.
Every project that we take on, I think, has some sort of tie-in to social determinants of health or mental
Yes.
health or safety. And that includes our Prevent Child Abuse Louisiana affiliation that's also under our umbrella.
I definitely agree. I think they all tie into some social determinant in some way. So
Mhm.
to talk a little bit more about our data-driven service that we do. Everything is pretty much within our organization is driven by data. So VLink plays a unique role in Louisiana in both direct service provider and data partner for many systems. How do you see us using the data to inform our agency services and partnerships or in the future you would like to go to?
Well, one of the things that we've been able to do now is to partner with foundations to share our data on the needs of people within the community and get pretty specific about those needs, their demographics, the resources that we've provided to them. So we're not just saying, gee, this person needs food. We can say this person is in this zip code. It's a food desert, but this agency was available and could or could not help them. All of that is very valuable data, especially to funders who struggle with funding decisions. The needs are great within our community, but if you can have a tool that helps you figure out what the highest needs are, that's an asset to funders.
Hmm.
It's also our data is also being used by some universities, not necessarily in Louisiana, that have research grants. One in particular is looking at the effects of climate
Oh, wow.
along the Gulf Coast on the health of young people in this area. And they're going back and looking at decades of call reports, especially during storms, hurricanes, heat events, and so forth. One of the things that they've found is when temperatures rise, the mental health of our youth suffer, and there is an
Wow.
impact there in
Hmm.
those reaching out for help or having their um, higher stress levels or thoughts of suicide.
Wow. That kind of leads into the next question. Why is it important to you that data be accessible, not just to agencies, but also to the communities we serve? I know a part of it is, being able to have these types of studies that help learn more about our community.
Well, I think if it's accessible, the public is more informed about what the needs are when they go to the polls to vote or they talk with their representatives. They've got real data on how to advocate for initiatives to be addressed in their community. I think if our legislators or our leaders have this information, they make better decisions. And that just improves the overall health of
Hmm.
our community. And I think that's ultimately what we want is a
Right.
community that is healthy and supportive of one another and needed services are provided or funded.
I agree. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about partnerships and innovation within VLink. So VLink recently partnered with, or is partnering with Airbnb for a powerful initiative to support different needs of our community. Can you tell us more about how that collaboration came about, the impact you hope it will have, and just a little bit more about that program because it's kind of unique and it's something
Yeah,
we haven't seen before.
right. Yes, this is very unique, and VLink is thrilled to have piloted their first initiative around this. So everybody's familiar with Airbnb, but within the last year, Airbnb created a foundation, which they call Airbnb.org. And what Airbnb is doing is putting about $10 million worth of free homestays into the foundation each year that they can then offer communities that have experienced some sort of natural disaster. So they launched this past year, and one of the primary leaders with Airbnb.org had a connection to the North Shore Community Foundation, to the director there, reached out and said, I have this idea. I want to do some free homestays. I would like to try Louisiana first, since we're pretty disaster
Mhm.
prone. What's the vehicle to get these homestays to people? And the foundation recommended ViaLink, that the 211 through ViaLink was probably the best tool. So during Hurricane Francine, they offered us 20 homes to people. If we had people that called us that had lost use of their home, they could give homestays up to 30 days. So we were able to place 18 families in these homes in various parishes. It worked very well. So they then, with our assistance, helped pilot this in Florida during Hurricane Milton, and then in South Carolina during all the flooding from Helene, and then with the wildfires in California. Um, Great response. So we now have this available to us. When the tornadoes came through Kentwood a couple of weeks or a couple months ago now,
Mhm.
they were they called us before we could even call them and say, do you need help? So we were able to get a few homestays for people there as well. So this is not something we like put on our resource list.
Mhm.
It's something you could be recommended to if you call 211. You have to have lost use of your home. It can't be powers out. So when we have our next hurricane and the thousands of us lose our power, this is not a resource for that, because some of these homes will probably lose power. What
Mhm.
they will offer us is what's available to them from owners that will put their homes up for these free stays. The owners are paid. They take a reduced rate from Airbnb. But it could be that they have 20 homes available. It could be that they have 200 homes available. We don't know until that time
Right.
period what they can offer us. So, in order to qualify, you cannot have ever been banned from Airbnb before. So, if you've used Airbnb and you misbehaved or destroyed property, you would not be eligible. It is not for folks that are homeless. This is people that have lost use of a home and will
Mhm.
eventually have a home or someplace to go back to, because the stay cannot exceed 30 days.
Gotcha.
Yeah. A credit card is not required. to stay. Like Hilton.com offers some free stays during disasters, but they require a credit card be on file. Airbnb does not.
Mm,
Um, and there is a background check that they do. The process is very quick. Once you're approved, you are given an app to download. If you don't have a cell phone or you have some technology challenges, we can help you with that. But that app basically shows you what homes are available and you select from that list.
mm. That's great. That's really good. I think that's a great program, and I can't wait to see how that expands into different ways as we all figure out new ways to figure out how we're gonna work around resources for disasters.
Yeah, it's a game changer for us and being able to actually have homes to offer people,
Right.
you
Hmm.
know, and it could be, a fire within a community. The, it doesn't have to be a big event. It could
Hmm.
be a small event. And folks just reach out to us and we'll see what's available.
Hmm.
It's also a resource for emergency responders or those highly needed workers
Hmm.
that need to be in the area after a disaster too. We can use that for some housing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, what does successful collaboration look like, whether with national partners like Airbnb or community-based nonprofits across the state? How does that look for you? Because, I know that's an area a lot of smaller nonprofits are trying to think of new ways to collaborate successfully and create these partnerships. What does that look like specifically for you and your organization with Billing?
I think there's got to be respect between the two organizations. There's got to be a willingness to listen and exchange ideas. It can't be all one-sided. Otherwise, that's just a program that you're buying into and being managed by. Um, I think that each needs to be able to bring something to the table. It could be data and storytelling around that data um, in exchange for more data to layer on that. There could be a financial piece to that too in support. Um, and I think there's got to be a lot of collaboration and understanding and a desire for some mutual
Mhm.
outcomes from that data.
I agree. I agree. Thank you. So some of the last questions I want to ask is more about you and your leadership style. So can you tell me a little bit more about your leadership style and your opinion and exactly how has it evolved since you've been at V-Link?
Um, some days I'm not really sure what my style is. I am definitely not a micromanager. And if you disagree with that, you got to tell me. I need to be able to work with people that are ambitious, creative, and like to work independently. If I have to monitor your time or question whether or not you're working or not, you're not the person to be on a management team or mid-level management team at ViaLink
Mhm.
in particular. I think I have a great staff of folks that like what they're doing, see what needs to be done, and will do that. I'm happy to listen to the ideas that you all bring forward. If we think we can make them work, I'm happy to support those and work towards that goal. And I really want people to grow in their position and add to their skill set. And I think one of the things I'm proudest of my time at ViaLink is that when we started, I think I had 10 full-time and 10 part-time people. There really wasn't any upward mobility or movement available. for the most part within the agency. We're now at 93 employees. Most of those are full time. And VLink is a place where you can now make a career. There's upward mobility there. We're evolving. We're creating new positions. We're creating new departments and opportunities. And just to be able to make it a place that I think initially when I came to work, for a lot of people, it was a place to come to work out of school, and then
Mhm.
you're jumping off. People then moved on to something else.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that now. Um, so I don't know. What do you think about my leadership style?
No, I think you're spot on. I think one of your strengths is development of your team and giving people opportunities to be creative and innovate and come up with ideas. I think that's definitely a strength that you have as
Thanks.
your leadership style.
Yeah, yeah. I like to be able to do that because I learn a lot from you all as well, and that helps me in my initiatives. I think where I'm bad is that I don't have really good work home boundaries, especially as this remote work became popular
Mhm.
after COVID. I'm not real good at turning off. And I see some employees, sure, Cole, that are that have evolved into doing the same thing. Um, so I really worry about the mental health. I'm not concerned, overly concerned about anybody, but I do want to make sure that everybody takes care of their mental health
Mhm.
and does not overwork themselves.
Mhm. Understood. What values guide your decision making, especially when leading such a mission-driven team through both the growth and the challenges that we've had?
A lot of it is the ethics. I think we've got to make ethical decisions. They've got to empower people as
Mm,
well. Um, I, as long as we can help people, and I've said this before, help them help themselves or know how to get help, not be afraid to ask, put a voice to what they need.
mhm,
Sometimes they don't have the words. If we can help them do that and give them those words to use to advocate for themselves, and then really working as equitably as we can.
mhm. I agree. What matters most to you right now as a leader, not just in terms of strategy, but in terms of your legacy and impact?
I want to be able, well, what at the in the present moment, there's a lot of changes happening within the economy and nationally. And I just wonder where all this is going to fall out. I
Mhm,
have a lot of faith. Um, and I have to have faith in order to operate that everything's going to be okay. But that doesn't stop me from keeping my eye on where things are going financially for ViaLink and what's the best decisions I can make for us to keep us moving forward. But I want my legacy to be that I left ViaLink sustainable, financially sustainable. It was not that way when I started.
mhm,
Um, and so I've really worked to diversify our streams of income. I'm still working on that, but I can't leave until I'm very confident that this is a sustainable organization.
mhm.
I think it is. I just want it to be more sustainable.
No, I understand. What are your hopes for the future of VLink and for the systems we work for here in Louisiana and around the country now as we move into different spaces?
Yeah. Well, I think ViaLink has become a nationally recognized organization. The HMIS team is sought after um, for conference presentations. I think they're well respected in the HMIS field for their data quality and their work. Our 211 is one of the top five in the nation, and there's like 250 211s out there. I think our 988 work is good, very good. I want to see that uh, we continue to get not only that awareness and be lauded for the work we do because we deserve it and that we
Mhm.
are putting out a good product that is helping people. Um, and that any new programming we bring in does align with our mission. And we don't necessarily need to create many more programs. I think what we can do is take what we have and make a deeper dive with those and some expansions within those that really would just enhance what we're already doing.
Mhm. And my last question for you is, for anyone watching today who might be inspired by the conversation, how can they support VLink's mission or get involved?
Well, we do take donations on our website. That's a quick way to support us. Um, we do take a few volunteer opportunities. We do provide that. Some of that is a little difficult in the call center. There is about 80 to 200 hours of training that has to go on before you could volunteer to be on the phones or on a crisis line. But if you've got some time and you want to work with us, we're pretty diverse. I think you just need to reach out and let us know where we look for ideas around marketing, in particular, advocacy. We'd love to help you be part of our advocacy team and some outreach work as well. But reach out and let's talk about your skill set and what your vision is and how that aligns with our visions.
Thank you. So I want to thank you so much, LaVondra, for coming on the show today. And we also just want to thank you for your leadership, your vision, and commitment to creating stronger communities across Louisiana. And I want to let everyone know watching that if you want to learn more about ViaLink and all of our services and partnerships, you can go to visit vialink.org, VIALINK.org, and we're going to make sure we post that also in the description of this cast. Thank you again for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.